The list of human desires is infinite. We ardently desire a variety of things that may or may not be good for us. For example, we rush to satisfy our cravings as soon as we can afford them. This is how billions of people around the world live. Their lives revolve around gratifying their desires rather than focusing on what they truly need. This attitude toward money may make us smile momentarily when we obtain the objects we so desire, but when we are unable to pay for the most essential things in our lives, we confront the reality of our actions. Have you ever stopped to reflect on why you are always broke? Where does all your money regularly go? And why, 2 weeks after receiving your income or after paying yourself, is your bank account mostly in the red? If you find yourself in this difficult situation and cannot understand what is happening to your money, here are some habits that will keep you poor even if you have a good job. You don't have a budget or don't keep it updated. How can you know how much money you are earning, spending, and saving if you don't have a budget? It is rather difficult to achieve your financial goals without a budget. A budget consists of understanding how much money you earn, so you can set spending goals and perhaps save money. Simply being aware of how much you spend can help you spend less because you become more conscious of it. You also need to keep your budget updated and make changes as you go along. If you did not grow up in a family where solid financial habits were instilled, creating a budget is the first step toward financial literacy. You are not aware of your spending habits. Do you have the habit of spending too much in restaurants but little on groceries? This terrible habit that makes you fail usually goes hand in hand with the lack of a budget. Even if you might not be able to change the amount of money you earn in the near future, you can certainly change the amount of money you spend. Expenses that are more desires than needs, such as eating out, entertainment, and other non-essential expenses. When you don't know how much you have already spent, it is much easier to spend more. You can also be hyper-focused on certain areas when shopping if you know where you tend to spend too much money. You are spending too much money on things you don't need, like impulse purchases. Have you ever bought something and never used it? We have all made purchases that made us wonder, why the hell did I buy that? And if I told you that during a planned shopping trip, shoppers have a 13% lower likelihood of making impulse purchases, while during an unplanned shopping trip, they have a 23% higher likelihood. Companies are really good at what they do and spend a lot of time trying to figure out what drives people to buy more things in their stores. And guess what the key is? Well, impulse shopping. Of course. I want you to take a look at the layout of your local Walmart the next time you go there. Have you ever noticed where the milk and eggs are kept in supermarkets? In the back of the store, to be precise. This forces you to walk the length of the store just to get the milk or eggs you need. What are the chances that someone can pass by all those items without succumbing to temptation? Companies also try to entice you to make impulse purchases by placing products near the checkout. People usually wait a few minutes to pay at the checkout. Customers are more likely to buy something while waiting if the products are displayed there. It is almost impossible for a mother to go through the checkouts without her child asking for something. When you make a list or a plan, you are more likely to stick to it. Using a written list when shopping will save you time and money. If you are looking for a way to save money, this is the way to go. You cling to things that give you a false sense of wealth. Have you ever visited someone's house and found it full of goods? Or perhaps you are the one with a lot of things in your house. When someone buys a lot of items and keeps them in their residence, it can give them the impression of being wealthy. Owning 2 cars, a garage full of tools, a boat, snowboards, bicycles, and decorations galore. This is something that can last a long time. And if you do it, you might believe you are richer than you are. You have the illusion that because you bought all of it, you must be financially secure. If you believe that having a lot of things proves you are rich, buying goods is one of the habits that will keep you broke. Your wealth is determined only by the amount of money you have in investments and assets. Buying cheaper in quantity instead of quality. Have you ever bought something only to see it break and force you to replace it? It is something we have all done before. Instead of spending more on anything, we opt for the cheaper option. However, it eventually breaks, making it necessary to buy a new one. Sunglasses are a good example. You buy a cheap pair and drop them, breaking them right away. It is time to go out and buy another pair of cheap shoes. And what if you had only one fantastic pair that lasted longer than all the cheap ones? In the long run, you would probably be better off investing in high-quality items, including food. You would also be more likely to take care of more valuable items. What does it matter what happens to your 25 sunglasses? But what about the nice 25 sunglasses? But what about the nice 150 pair of shoes? You might end up spending more in the long run if you buy cheap. The same goes for quantity. Why spend the same amount on 5 quality shirts when you can have 20 for the same price? However, you will likely only wear 5 shirts, and those 5 shirts might even last longer than the 20. You don't have long-term goals or your goals are vague. This is probably more common among young people, but it has happened to us too. Either you have no goals or your goals are imprecise. If you do not have financial ambitions, you are more likely to be negligent with your money. You have no reason to spend less or save more if you do not have ambitions. And goals that are not specific? One day, you want to retire. Great. What steps do you need to take to retire? You want to get out of debt. Great. What measures do you need to take to get out of debt? Hopes and dreams are not goals. It all comes down to doing research and setting clear goals. You are more likely to spend your money on things that are not useful in the long term if you do not have goals or have ambiguous goals in both scenarios. It is much easier to tell yourself, I won't buy that because I need to use this money to pay off my debts, when you have specific and targeted goals. Specific goals give you a purpose for thinking about how you spend your money. You are not investing extra money. Do you have a savings account with a low interest rate? If so, what is the reasoning behind it? If you do not need the money right away, you should invest it in assets that will give you a better return. Banks strive to keep your deposits, cash, for the least amount of money possible. It is the means by which they can make money. Consequently, avoid keeping your money in cash or in a savings account. Put your extra money to good use. It is one of the few techniques to increase your net worth. Investing involves a certain degree of risk. However, without investing your money, it is unlikely that you will achieve your financial goals. You don't pay off your credit card balances. One of the worst behaviors that can keep you broke is carrying a credit card balance and paying interest. Credit card interest rates can be extremely damaging to your finances, forcing you to pay more money in interest every month. You should try to pay off your credit card amount each month if you can. Some people simply do not realize they are wasting money because they believe they only need to pay the minimum. Or they do not realize how much money they are wasting on interest. However, many people struggle to pay off credit card debt. If you have trouble paying off the balance each month, you might need to come up with a temporary plan until you can pay it off. You might need to limit spending to the bare necessities until the card is paid off. However, you will save money because you will no longer be paying interest. You don't have a financial plan. Although you might mistakenly believe that a financial plan and a budget are the same thing, they are not. One of the habits that could keep you broke is not having a financial plan. A budget mainly concerns the upcoming month or quarter, but a financial plan concerns the upcoming decade. Your financial plan should serve as a blueprint for achieving your financial goals. It should specify how your investments are expected to perform over time and how you want to accumulate money. You are not comfortable talking about money. Unfortunately, many of us are apprehensive about talking about money and finances. Since it is a negative mindset, this behavior could make you poor. Most of us did not grow up in a family where financial literacy was valued. Without a doubt, you will remember studying cell structure and the variations between plant and animal cells. However, compound interest and debt amortization were not included. This has led to a lack of confidence when it comes to discussing money and finances. But if you are terrified of money, how will you achieve your financial goals? Gain confidence once you understand the basics of money and realize that much of it is determined by how you spend and save. This self-assurance is crucial for achieving the financial state you desire. Increasing expenses. As income increases, when most people start earning more, they usually upgrade their housing, buy a nicer car, purchase more expensive clothes, take more vacations, and enroll their children in more expensive schools, among other things. While increasing your standard of living as your income increases is a good thing, overdoing it could leave you with little more than you had before. If you want to get out of the rat race and onto the fast track, you will need to improve your saving and investing habits. This means that if your salary increases, you will be able to improve your standard of living by a fraction and have more money set aside. You don't value your time. One of the most precious commodities you have in life is your time. When you find a job, you trade time and skills for money. However, it is easy to establish or already have the tendency not to appreciate your time. Participating in surveys is a great example of not appreciating the value of your time. Consider what else you could be doing instead of spending that small amount of money. If you really want to generate more money, you should use the time you spend filling out surveys to improve your skills and knowledge. Your most valuable asset is your time. It can be used to build something or to learn something new. Consider what else you could have done with those 10 hours if you had not spent them filling out questionnaires. Focus on the big picture rather than the details. A survey may earn you 5 today, but learning a new skill could earn you 5 today, but learning a new skill could earn you 5 more per hour for the rest of your career. My final thoughts on this list: you are broke because of a series of terrible habits. The idea is to be aware of them and commit to developing habits that create wealth.